everyone. Today I am talking to my very good friend Alex, and we are going to be talking about autism and mental health.
Yeah. So, autistic people are like predispositioned to mental health issues like anxiety and depression and other comorbid things like OCD, ADHD, and
Titties.
Tourette's. Yeah. So I guess starting off, we kind of have a bad hand. Does that make
High
sense?
five. Yeah, like we are more likely in the first place to develop conditions because it's like autism often does come with, other things.
Probably because of how the brain is wired, and it's just more likely to be fear or
Titty sprinkles.
So I guess I'll kind of say, like, when I was younger, before my mental illness to start, I was already like quite a shy person and kind of scared of rejection, because just kind of throughout as a kid you're like, because I didn't know social rules, you're kind of like,
I'm a tit.
just hesitant. Yeah. And I was quite naive, and I was very trusting, and I still am, which is not always a good thing. And yeah, so I think that was kind of some of the basis of why I developed mental health issues, just because of having them struggle with autism as a child and not knowing why. Yeah.
Do you think that like your self-esteem was impacted by not knowing why you were different? Or
Yeah, I just felt like I was doing things wrong, and I just didn't feel like, I kind of felt like I was dumb. Like, I was like, everyone else seems to be doing this fine, why can't I do this? Yeah.
I feel like unfortunately that's a feeling that a lot of people with neurodivergent conditions get, like autism, ADHD, etc., because people hold themselves to neurotypical standards, especially like if they don't know they have a condition, like because they feel like that's what they are supposed to do.
Yeah.
But of course it's difficult when your brain is working very differently.
And I think parents, if they don't know or don't think that their child has struggles, then they invalidate it a lot, and that can be really negative on the child's mental health, even if the parent doesn't mean it to be that way, because they just want their
Cannabis
child to act normal, like, just don't embarrass me. That's what they want them to do, but it's harder when there's like neurodiverse brains.
Yeah, I think because things like autism can be very hidden sometimes, like from the outside anyway, people might not feel that it's worth looking into, like parents, because they don't see what's going on inside. And I think some parents do kind of worry about
Labeling.
Yeah, labeling, but there's a thing I've seen loads and loads of times, like you're going to get another label that's a lot worse. Like people will be bullied and called horrible things, and that's a lot worse label for someone to have and harm someone's self-esteem more than knowing they're autistic, because there's nothing actually wrong with being autistic.
Yeah, because my mum said that she did have some concerns, but she didn't want to take me to the doctor because she didn't want me to be diagnosed. And also one of my mum's friends who had a baby at the same time, he was doing the same things as me, and it turned I think he's like autistic as well, because we were both doing the same kind of autistic, opening doors and all that, but they were just like, oh yeah, that's normal. So it's just it was just a mixture of not wanting a label and not thinking it was a problem. And I know that I was quite good at masking when I was a kid. I kind of just took it on mask naturally, because that was how, everyone else is doing this, gotta do it. So, and I remember being told social rules when I was like 5 or 6 by the teacher, like, you need to look at someone when they're talking to you. So that's what I just do now. And so I think in childhood before you get diagnosed. That's kind of the whole general feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it is very common for some people to mask, autistic girls especially. And that masking, it's not always a good thing. Like, some people might think it's a good thing because it maybe makes us seem like we are functioning more, but it's actually can have negative effects because we are masking our own feelings as well.
Like pushing down feelings and sensations, and it can make you burn out. Like, you feel really tired after school, you just need to go away and be by yourself because you can't deal with people because it's just too much. And like, me personally, masking affected my schoolwork a lot. Like, if I was having a bad day and I was trying so hard to keep up the neurotypical front, I could barely do any work done because it was just so draining. So yeah, it is not good to mask. But I think it's kind of engraved into you as a child to do that because neurotypicals want you to act like that, and it's not like against them, it's not their fault, you know, it's just hard.
Yeah, and I think like people probably don't see how draining it can be to be autistic, especially if you're not accepting yourself that you're autistic. But yes, how do you think your mental health's improved in any way since getting a diagnosis?
Yeah, definitely. I've been a lot kinder to myself, and like when I started researching autism, I was like, wow, that actually makes sense, like I could be that. And I was scared because I thought people were going to judge me, be like, I'm not autistic, and they were, and they did say that. But I guess I proved it by, you know, collecting situations which showed I was autistic, if that makes sense, like memories and things, and timeline of your
cock sprinkles
of your development and stuff. And
it's like when people say you don't look autistic, it's quite and it's quite difficult because you don't need to prove yourself to anyone, but you kind of feel like you want to in a way. You want people to believe you and take you seriously.
You want to validate your feelings, like, because people think that you haven't got it that bad because you can function in an environment. It's like, but it can be really taxing on your brain. So you kind of want to be able to prove to someone, yeah, I have these problems and they're valid and they make me feel bad sometimes.
Yeah. And woo, chicken. Like, I did notice, like, I think when you were diagnosed, you started actually stimming more and being outwardly autistic, and I think that's actually a good thing. I was really happy when I saw you stimming.
Yeah, I because the thing is, I didn't really stim that much as a child. I'm not sure why. I think that staring, because I was like zoning out constantly as a kid, I think that was kind of visual stimming because I would just like watch an object and completely block everything out. And I kind of felt self-conscious because like it's like, well, I wasn't rocking when I was a child, why am I rocking now? But it's because I'm comfortable with it and I'm like, I guess, letting out my energy instead of keeping it inside and being all restless and like anxious.
Yeah, I mean, it my chicks fuck. It does really help to like stim and be able to let it out. I know that I feel like because I rock a lot. For some reason I'm not actually doing it right now, I don't think, but I do rock a lot and like I jump from down from my hand and stuff. If I didn't do that, I would probably be a lot more miserable. I mean, like, because it does release a lot of energy, and stimming does actually feel good. It kind of serves a purpose. So I'm grateful that I have been able to openly like stim and stuff without judgment. So that's really good.
I guess in school I'd do it in socially acceptable ways, like knee moving and like chewing pencil or tapping or whatever, which might have been kind of annoying to people around me, but I don't care. Yeah, so I'd kind of get it out through that way, but it's nicer to kind of do stuff that feels natural.
Definitely.
Yeah.
like for me, like when I need to rock and I don't rock, it just feels weird. Like thankfully, I
just
don't.
like,
Yeah,
I want to do this.
yeah. So it's definitely better to do what naturally comes to you.
Yeah, and same when I'm like excited about something, I'm like,
Yes.
you know, like, oh my gosh, because
Yes.
there's so many feelings, and you know, like, I mean, I would just still do that before I was diagnosed. I would just be like pacing around, like,
Yes.
because just intense feelings about ideas, and it's really fun.
It is very fun. I do that as well.
Yeah, but it's not fun for the parents who have to listen at like 11 p.m. or 12 at night.
Yeah.
They're like, let me sleep.
What do you think is the danger of like suppressing your feelings as an autistic person, letting it like bubble up and stuff?
Well, I guess it can show itself in a lot of ways. Like, some people get really angry and lash out at people, and other people kind of take it in on themselves and doing like hate. They build up a lot of anger and hatred about themselves and like, why are you like this?
Because I'm a tit.
Yeah. So that's kind of the danger of keeping it inside, and also obviously burning out from masking, and yeah, that's the danger.
Have you ever had like a doctor or a therapist say they don't think you're autistic?
Surprisingly, no, because I was the one that brought it up to them. Like, I did have, when I was about 12, I think, I had is it the psychiatrist who do the medication? Yeah. I had a psychiatrist who kind of asked my mum some questions about autism, and she's like, no, she's not autistic. And that was that. But then at 14, that's when I started researching it. Then I brought it up to my therapist, and she was like, yeah, we actually kind of thought you might. And it's like, why didn't you say anything?
Oh.
Yeah. But anyway, so surprisingly no, but I guess it's because I was the head of people telling me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
I think advocating for yourself is like really important, and researching it yourself and everything, it does help a lot.
Yeah, because like I threw myself into research before I even mentioned it, because I did not want to be wrong, because autism is like
complex.
Yeah, it's really complicated. It's like it's with your brain, and if you like,
I'm brain dead.
if you get it wrong, I don't know, I just feel like it'd be insulting really to autistic people. But yeah, so I researched loads, I made loads of notes, like 4 pages of notes. I went to my therapist and I was just like, I think I'm autistic.
Oh wow.
And she was like, yes, me too, I'm gonna help you, which was nice, because she was a nice person. She's not dead, she's still alive. She is a nice person.
Yeah.
I just don't see her anymore. But anyway.
Yeah. That's really nice that they were really open to it and everything. That's lovely.
Yeah, it's confusing because other people have different experiences.
Sprinkled tits!
With cams, so it really depends on the person you're seeing, I guess.
Yeah, I think that as well. So what would you say to the parent of a child who is maybe showing some potential autism traits like sensory issues, literal thinking, etc., etc.? Is there anything you would say to them?
I would say kind of write down your thoughts and memories and kind of worries, to kind of, I guess, compile it together in a comprehensive list,
and do the hula dance. Don't do that.
And obviously do research, and then if you think that you should, sorry, wait, I got distracted. If you think that it's enough, then you could go to the GP and say something about it. Yeah. Because it's better for the child to know they're autistic than think there's something wrong with them and blame it on themselves. Yeah.
Definitely chickens. Woo! I agree with that. I think it's good to make notes of the symptoms and all the traits so that you can bring them up and
Have something to say.
yeah,
Just
and try not to be reluctant to it. Some people, as you already kind of said this, but some people feel there's a stigma around autism, but it is better to know you're autistic than to think you're a bad person or that you're fraud in any way. So, you know, it's better to know you're autistic, I think. Would you say that your autism impacted your OCD traits in any way?
I mean, I guess OCD is like people with autism are predispositioned to OCD in the first place because, you know, we like routine, we're quite black and white thinking, and then obviously anxiety. So I think that kind of boiled over into my OCD episode. I'm not sure if it exactly. I guess the black and white thinking was kind of like, if you don't do this, this bad thing will happen, and there's no in between. So I think that kind of affected it that way. Yeah.
I think, like, there are the overlap is like black and white thinking and literal thinking can kind of be in both autism and OCD, but with autism it's more generalized, and with OCD it's more black and white in relation to obsessions.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
thoughts.
Hi, buddy.
I guess bud.
Hello. You wanna be in the spotlight, don't you?
You want some attention? Yeah. There we go.
I don't even want to edit this bit out.
Yeah, we can just have a little job segment.
Love it. Oh, fun. You little angel.
He's like, yes, I'm here too.
Oh.
I don't have any food for you. You can't eat nuts. You can't really sit there. I mean, hi, I can still see the camera, I guess. You could just stay here for the rest of the video.
I mean, I could move over a bit and then. Oh, bud.
It's like, you wanna sit over here, please? Thank you. Yeah. Oh, yep. Just showing yourself off.